Today we're going to be looking at my top 5 upright bass VSTs. Boom, 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 boom. Hi folks, I'm Mike and I do hope you're well. Now today, as I say, we're going to be going through my top 5 upright bass VSTs. Why my top 5? Because it's a YouTube tradition. Not the top 4, not the top 7. It's got to be the top 5. Now they are in no particular order in actual fact because they vary enormously in budget. So that makes a big difference when you're evaluating these things. However, I will give some indication to those that I really do like, but I do like them all. Now, before we get into that, if you like this kind of content, then please do subscribe to my channel to get more videos about home recording, plugins, tips and tricks, that kind of thing. So please do subscribe, ring the bell on YouTube, and you will get to see my future videos. Now, let's get stuck into those upright bass plugins.
1.
So the first upright bass I've got is here because you may already have it, and that's because it's a part of the Kontakt factory library. Now the factory library comes with the full version of Kontakt, which does cost $399 US. I wouldn't expect you to pay that for the bass alone, but like I say, you do get a whole bunch of quality instruments in with that, plus all the full benefits of the full version of Kontakt. Now, does it sound any good? I think it does sound pretty good. Have a quick listen. Now, with this, you do not get any fancy features. It is pretty basic, excuse the pun. There's no percussive sounds, there's no sliding between notes, anything fancy like that. It is just a straightforward sound. But in the context of our piece of music, I think it sounds pretty good. So have a quick listen. Now, if you're working on a bit of a tight budget, then you cannot go past the Adam Monroe upright bass. I've included it here because it actually also sounds pretty good. It goes out for $15 US, which is just crazy. If you check out his webpage, then you'll see quite a few other instruments at that kind of a price. So it's really worth checking out. Now, the bass sounds a little bit like this. As well as the basic sound, with the foot switch you actually get a kind of a slap sound. And you can slide down or up to notes. So it's a pretty good little plugin. It comes as either a Kontakt library or just a VST plugin. You can choose which of those you want to use. And let's have a listen and see how it sounds in the context of our piece of music. Now, if you can stretch to a little bit more within your budget, then you cannot go past the Orange Tree Samples core bass. This is a really nice sounding instrument and you get quite a lot more options with it than the instruments we've looked at so far. Let's have a quick listen to the basic instrument. Now, with the overlapping notes, it'll actually slide between one note and the other. Have a listen to that. And that makes the whole instrument sound a lot nicer, a lot more realistic when you put that kind of thing in. As well as that, we do get percussive sounds and slides. Now, I've included some of these in our piece of music to demo this instrument, and you can start to hear the difference with this instrument. So have a quick listen. Now, if you're looking for a really, really authentic sounding upright bass, then you cannot go past the Amplsound upright bass. They've really taken a lot of time with this and packed it full of features. Now, it does cost $149, but I think it's worth keeping an eye out on the Amplsound site because they do have sales from time to time. I think it's really worth it if this instrument's really important to you in your music. So, as well as the basic sound, which sounds like this, you do get all the percussive sounds with it as well. And you get all the slides and bends that you would expect, as well as all the features you get with Amplsound's plugins normally. That includes a riffer, the ability to import some tab, lots and lots of effects, different kinds of effects, and all sorts of features which I can't go into right now. But the basic instrument itself does sound really, really good, especially when you put it together with all of those extra features. One of the things I noticed about it, for example, is that when you play a string, especially open strings, you get a nice authentic buzz. Now, if that wasn't good enough by itself, it's not the same every time you play it. So you'll get a different buzz each time. So it's really, really sort of natural sounding instrument. Let's have a listen in the context of our piece of music.
5.
Now, the final upright bass I've included in my top 5 is the upright bass, which is in the Trillion Total Bass module. Now, this is a module which gives you a whole bunch of bass guitars and some upright basses. So for $279 US, you do get a bit more than just an upright bass, you'll be glad to hear. Now, there are some pros and cons with it, which I'd like to go through. But first of all, let's have a quick listen to the basic sound. It's a really, really nice sounding upright bass. Now, there are some cons to this, and I do think for this price, there are things to consider. There are no percussive sounds or key switches for percussive sounds that I can find. If I'm wrong, please tell me in the comments. There are key switches for different sounds, as you can see here. Glissando, you've got some slide down, slide up, staccato, etc., etc. But there are none of those sort of nice slaps and taps that you get with some other instruments. Having said that, it is a really, really high quality sounding instrument. So let's have a listen in the context of our piece of music. So I do hope there was an upright bass in there to soothe your soul and make great music with. If you do like this kind of content, then please do subscribe now and ring the bell on YouTube so that you can hear about my future videos. Now, in the meantime, you can watch some of my past videos. I'll be putting thumbnails for them here. Go on, click on them. Go on, do it. You'll love it. See you next week.